Back to what Pablo was talking about, when you do win on a claimer, let's say you get 10,000 back. How much does go to the trainer? How much goes to the jockey? How much goes to the jockey agent? And then, in the end, what actually you get out of a $10,000 win?
A $10,000 win, you would get $8,000. No, I'm sorry, a 10,000. If that purse that you received was 10,000, okay, so let's say that represented 60% of the purse was $10,000. The trainer gets 10% of that, and the jockey gets 10% of that, and then you would get the remaining $8,000. So that's what you would get. So, and that's on wins. The jockeys only get 5% for second and third, and then a jockey mount, typically anywhere from $85 to $125 roughly. For just riding a horse that runs, fourth or worse. So, that's typically what you get dinged for on a win.
Yeah, I was just wondering, how is the billing structured in a partnership? How do you work out bills, and how often are your partners billed, and how does that whole procedure go?
In our two different kinds of partnerships, one, partners don't receive any bills. They put up years of expenses ahead of time, and they don't receive one bill. What they do receive is an accounting statement, usually quarterly, which goes over all the expenses of the horse, so they can see what was spent and what wasn't spent and what is left in the account. So they're not billed. There are other partnerships now that are billed quarterly. They're billed the set amount every quarter, and again they receive the same statement that shows where the expenses go.
Okay, this is for Matt. You're a trainer, and you made a remark a little bit ago about there's very little that separates the trainers from each other in California, Southern California. Now, what is the prices that are charged by these trainers? Because I understand there's quite a difference in some of them, how much they charge compared to other people.
Well, there is quite a range back there, and when I say that, most trainers are pretty much the same back there. What I'm saying is, in Southern California, I may have to change my statement. About 70% of your trainers back there are, in my opinion, do a top drawer job, spare no expense in making sure that the horse is taken care of. There are other ways of doing things, and I believe you get what you pay for. My rate is $85 a day, and of that 85, I spend $81.75 of that per day to maintain the horse. So I don't make any profit basically off the day rate. If the horse needs an extra this or that, actually it costs me money to train horses. Mr. Baffert charges well over $100, but his expenses are a bit higher because he has layers of management that he has to pay for. There are other trainers that will not use human hot walkers. They'll put horses on machines. If you do that, you're saving anywhere from $6 to $10 a day. It's not the way I care to do it, but they're able to adjust their day rate because they do choose to operate in a different fashion. But I would say 70, in my opinion, 70% of your people back there do an excellent job, and you can give a horse to any one of those 70% and probably come up with very similar results.
So those companies are the ones you were really talking about, where you get billed quarterly and all that.
Yeah,
your basic general partner of another partnership would probably get the normal monthly bills and things.
Yeah,
right?
you could be in partnerships where you get monthly bills. If you get together with 5 friends and you decide that one person is gonna get all the bills and then send out a statement monthly to the other members or the other partners to pay back the bills, and one person would be responsible for it. Or you could actually be in partnerships where I've seen where, and usually it's up to the trainer to allow this to happen, the trainer will put together a partnership where people will come to a trainer, and the trainer will bill 5 separate people 20%. And the vets will bill 5 separate people 20%. A couple of years ago, most people frowned upon it, and nowadays when I call up to separate interests in a horse, vets and trainers are very used to it, and their accountants are very used to it.
If I go to an auction, how do I get a trainer to accompany me to pick out a horse at an auction?
Well, before you actually go to the auction, you should hire yourself a trainer. Hire and do that well ahead of time, and establish your relationship, and let your trainer know what your parameters are as far as what you plan to spend and what your expectations are, and and have all that in place before you get to the auction. seen some people show up to the auction and attempt to find a trainer right on the spot, and if you get lucky, you get lucky, but you could make a bad decision there. I mean, I give yourself plenty of time. I don't think you can be too well prepared to enter into horse ownership. Hopefully you're in it for the long run, so if you spend a few months doing some research and, selecting your team, I believe that's a good thing.
Before you buy a horse, auction, claim, or whatever, you need to select your trainer first. You have to have that in line, and I wouldn't recommend, unless you have a good relationship with your trainer right off the bat, to go to an auction. You need to establish that relationship, so, because it's been talked about here, and it happens, you need to find people that you trust in this game, and trust is the most important thing, whether it be your trainer, your fellow owners, what have you. You need to trust the people that you're dealing with, and so you just want to go out there with an open checkbook and have them just buy you something just so they can make some money. So find your trainer first and most important thing.
What are the going rates for sponsor/manager compensation, and what are the components of the sponsor compensation? Management fee, incentive fee, other participants in the compensation.
Everybody's different. If you're going to go with a partnership group, generally they mark up their horse 100%. So if a horse was bought at auction for $100,000, your partnership rate is going to be $200,000, maybe $220,000, and that's going to include your first year's expenses. There will also be generally a back-end fee for the manager if the horse does prove successful. But mostly what you're paying for is the partner to manage the operation. You're paying for the partner. You're going to go in for 5% or 10%. You're paying for the manager to find the other 90% equity partners with you, and you're paying for their expertise in finding the horse and managing the operation. If you're not marking up the horse, what generally the manager will take is maybe 10% of purses. So if a horse wins a $60,000 or $50,000 race, and the owner, first place owner, takes home $30,000, the 10% will go to the trainer, 10% will go to the jockey, and 10% will go to the manager.